I had never kind of met him before, but I thought he was kind of cute and he was really nice to me in the car. And then afterwards, I tried to go and find him on Instagram so I could become friends with him and then maybe get his attention. But his name is spelled Dylon, so I couldn't find him because it's kind of spelled differently. But we crossed paths again at the Law Club and he bought me a gin and tonic.
I'm interested to see how she played this story. So I've got a little bit different of a maybe a background. I've been thinking about this one, but I knew Rachel through mutual friends while we were both at the University of Regina. So I knew that she was, you know, the captain of JDC West. She was this big, powerful business head in JDC West, and is what I remember her as being. But I never knew her. I knew that she was very beautiful.
And asked for my number. And actually, a funny story too that night. He doesn't like this, but Sydney was out that night with me as well. We were dressed kind of similar, and I had been wearing a jacket, and then I took it off. And so he came up to me, and he was like, "Where'd your sister go? Did she leave?" And I was like, "What?" I was like, "Oh, I'm not sure." But he thought he was talking to Sydney, and he thought I had left. And I was like, "Oh, why is he asking about Sydney?" Like, he just asked for my number.
First met Rachel, but yeah, there was a little bit of that. Kind of knew of her while I was in business school and always thought she was beautiful and smart and intimidating almost, which is funny at this point because she's so innocent and amazing. But at the time, yeah, she was this foreign JDC West captain, and I briefly knew her, and yeah, I can't believe that it came to where it is now.
8 kilometers up and 8 back. So it ended up being like this super intense hike. It was one of the most beautiful hikes I've ever done, and there was nobody on it because it was October. And so not really their peak season, and it was kind of rainy and snowy. And but yeah, it was just like this really nice, beautiful hike, and we got to the top, and then we kind of made our way back down, and there was just like no one around the lake, and it was just like super still and calm, and they have all these kind of benches along the lake there, and so we went and sat by one, and then that's where he proposed to me, and he was being all cute and sappy. And I was like, oh my God, I think he's going to propose. Like, he doesn't typically say this stuff. And then he got really nervous and he was like, okay. I was like, he was just kind of stalling. I was like, hey, well, let's go. Like, I'm cold and hungry. I don't want to sit here anymore. And so he's like, okay. And he was like being all slow. And so then we got up to go. And then he was like, no, wait. And then he got down on one knee and asked me to marry him. And yeah, it was super beautiful. And it was so nice having the dogs there with us.
Oh, yeah. And there was a surprise?
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know. I knew
it was going to happen.
Yeah.
But not then.
I didn't know he was going to do it then.
Yeah. Did you have any intention of asking him?
No.
Yeah.
I didn't.
No.
Yeah. A little more traditional that way. I was going to make him split the hotel room with me too. And I was like, damn it. I can't be that cheap. He just got me a ring.
Beautiful little spot in the Yoho Pass for me completing my master's, and I didn't know anything about the place. I didn't know, I didn't research kind of what was to be expected there or anything, but I knew that there was a potential that it could be the spot that I wanted to propose, but I wasn't sold on it by any means. I brought the ring with me, just seeing maybe it would happen. Obviously I was incredibly nervous the whole time, but we had a beautiful weekend. We brought the dogs with us, and it really felt cozy, and it felt like home, and it was quiet because we went later in the year in October, so it wasn't busy like it would be in the summer. And we had an amazing meal, and we spent some time down by the fire with the dogs, and we just had a really amazing weekend. And then on the last day, we woke up and did this really long hike, and I felt like it was going to be the right day. It was gloomy out. It was beautiful. The water was incredible. The lake looked amazing. And we did this 16-kilometer hike, and I was pretty sure the whole time that I was going to propose to her, but I didn't know when. I didn't know if it was at the top of the hike, at the most beautiful spots, or if it was going to be back at the lake. But I was pretty sold that I was going to do it. Just had to work up the confidence. So we did this elaborate big hike, and we got to the top, and it was really beautiful up there, but it wasn't exactly what I was picturing. It wasn't this huge overarching view of the mountains and a lake. It was kind of tucked in, and there was still mountains around us, and then a lake, and it was beautiful, but it was very foggy up there because we had climbed quite so high, and it didn't feel like the right spot, and I was also still too nervous, and it didn't feel right, and I kind of let it slip. And then we started walking back, and I think it was a 16-kilometer round trip, so it was another 8 kilometers down, and we got down finally to the very bottom. And mind you, along the way, I was thinking about, where's a good spot? Where can I do it? Um, is this the spot? This kept going through my head, and I never did pull the trigger until finally we got back to the lake, and it looked so beautiful. There was, some people around because that's where the hotel is. Some people typically just do laps, not the full hike like we did. So, we started walking back, and there was too many people. I remember it felt like too many people. They were bugging me. They were lingering around, and I just wanted them to move away, and tried to stall Rachel by the lake and tried to rehearse what I was going to say. And, finally we got to the spot, and there wasn't a lot of people. And I started, kind of getting out what I wanted to say, but it wasn't coming out right at all. Like I had something that I wanted to say, but it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't coming out at all. And she like said all these nice things, and then nothing kind of happened. And then she almost was like, well, I think that's nice. Like maybe we should keep going. And then finally like pulled back and proposed, and it was the most beautiful spot I could ever think of, and I'm so glad I did it there and worked up the courage. But I did fumble the engagement quite a bit, so I'm looking forward to having a little bit of redemption for my vows, because the proposal was quite pathetic.